Welcome, strangers, to Small Talkumentary on MMDTM Radio, a show where we watch documentaries and then get together and small talk about them.
Welcome back, everyone,
Everybody in
to
the club
Small
getting tipsy. Everybody in the club getting tipsy.
Welcome back to Small Talkumentary, brought to you by My Mama Done Told Me. This is a spinoff / small segment, a combination of podcasts or something.
Mm-hmm.
The podcast My Mama Done Told Me, you guys know because you're listening.
You know.
Yep.
But then we have an older podcast called Talkumentary,
Yes.
and this is Small Talkumentary. This is a show where we watch documentaries and get together and talk about them.
Talk about them.
Yeah. This is Small Talkumentary, which means it's the same concept. It's just smaller,
Right.
Yeah.
shorter.
Mhm.
So, we're going to have this show. This is our second Small Talkumentary,
Mm-hmm.
and this will keep coming back because we like doing
Whoop,
it. And it's only going to last about 30 minutes or so, give or take.
Yeesh.
So if you haven't listened to Talkumentary, the entire first season is available now on all of the podcast streaming services. So
Highly
make sure
recommend.
you check it out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Lauren and Mom Lauren's been on a lot of them. Mom's been on one of them.
One of them.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
She even got mad at us, I think, last time because she said I never even got to be on one, and except for the one that you were on.
Yeah, about
Why did
cats.
I say that? I don't know why I said that.
You forgot.
You forgot.
No, because I totally remember that, but I don't know.
You forgot.
You thought it was this podcast, probably.
Probably.
Maybe.
Anyway,
whatever.
welcome.
Thank
Welcome
you.
everybody back.
Hey, everybody.
I am your hostess with the mostest.
Mm-hmm. Jeffalina.
Jeffalina Kolaski. And just like my mama done told me, I'm joined by my sister Mary Lauren.
Sister Mary Lauren.
Hi,
That's
Lauren.
me. Hello.
And Mother Superior Kathy.
That's me. Why are we on this kick?
I don't know. Nuns.
I don't know.
Mother Superior, though. I do like that.
Do you?
Best mom ever.
Oh yeah, there it is.
There it is. It's truth.
It's true. That is Nikki's mug though. So.
I know it is,
Okay.
but I just use it when I'm here.
I know. Okay, let's get a few things out of the way up top. Please go out, rate and review our podcast. If you would, either go on your podcast streaming service and give us a like or a review or something like that, or you can reach out to us by email. And our email address is
My mama done told me podcast at gmail.com.
Yep. Or you can find us on all the social medias. And you can find links to our social medias where, Mom?
In the Shoy Noits.
Shoy Nights. That was my Catherine Reed.
Yeah, that was a good one, too.
Shoy Nights.
Shoy Nights.
Well, okay, so let's get into our documentary this week. This week, we watched an 82-minute documentary from 2020 called American Murder. American Murder. The Family Next Door.
Dun, dun, dun.
Next Door. Here is the trailer.
My name's Nicole, and I'm calling because I'm concerned about a friend of mine. I dropped her off at her house at 2 in the morning last night, and I haven't been able to get a hold of her this morning. I've gone to her house, and her car's there. She won't answer phone calls. She won't answer text messages. What's her name? Shanann Watt.
Hey guys, my name is Shanann. I just want you to know a little bit of my story. I went through one of the darkest times of my life, and then I met Chris. And he's the best thing that has ever happened to me.
How you doing? How's it going? There was no note or anything?
No. I don't know what to do right now.
I've done everything in my heart to make my family's life better.
Don't eat turtle. Don't eat turtle. I got turtle.
I think about like
Did I cause this? Did I make her feel like she needs to leave?
She said things were bad and that she didn't know what was going on with Chris.
I'm worried sick. This is completely unlike her.
My mom just never thought she was good enough.
Do you have any idea if he thought his wife had a boyfriend?
Maybe she sat there and thought about it. Do I really need to stay here right now? Like, if he doesn't love me, maybe I should just go.
Did she accuse you of anything?
I tortured him. I rejected him.
Did you cause Shanann's disappearance?
We're not promised tomorrow. We're not promised anything.
There's only one person in this room that knows what the truth is. And in about 5 minutes, there's going to be 2 of us.
Okay, so American Murder, The Family Next Door. Excuse me. Made me move my place. American Murder, The Family Next Door is a gripping true crime documentary that tells the heartbreaking story of the Watts family murders, which took place in 2018. Mm-hmm. Directed by Jenny Popplewell, the film utilizes a unique and intimate approach by piecing together real-life footage, social media posts, text messages, and police body cam recordings to recount the chilling events. The story follows the tragic case of Shanann Watts, a 34-year-old pregnant mother, and her 2 young daughters, Bella and Celeste, who mysteriously disappear from their home in Frederick, Colorado. I'm going to put like happy music over the way that I just said that, just to kind of lighten the mood of this one, because this is a dark one.
Yes,
it's a very dark one. Again, directed by Jenny Popplewell, produced by James Marsh. The film was a Knickerbocker Glory production. It's one word, Knickerbocker Glory.
Mm-hmm. That's difficult.
Yeah, I don't like it.
I don't either.
But they're fine.
Whatever,
don't
it's fine.
Get mad at us. Distributed and streamed on
Netflix.
We'll have a link to all the credit in the show notes. Let's get into it. Oh. A quick warning before you watch this episode. If you haven't seen the documentary, go check this out. If you do not want any spoilers, then maybe go watch the documentary before you listen to this, because we're going to talk about what happens. And this is one of the few documentaries that if you don't know the story and you watch the documentary, you could have some surprises.
Yeah, it's going to be ruined. So if you want to watch it, go watch it first.
Yep. So spoiler alert. Come back, join us, and when you're back, we'll get started.
We'll still be here.
Yeah, we'll wait.
Okay.
Patiently.
Did you watch it?
Are you back yet?
Did you watch
Welcome
it?
back, friends.
Good job. That was the quickest 90 minutes in my life.
All right, so let's talk about why we watched this documentary first.
Yes.
So I chose this one.
Yes.
The American Murders series.
Mm-hmm.
They're typically pretty well made.
Mm-hmm.
They have the budget of Netflix to tell a good story. So I thought, hey, this is a good one. It's got good ratings on Rotten Tomatoes. I think I didn't look it up, I didn't write it down, but I think it's like an 82 or something like that.
Up there.
Yeah, so it's pretty good. And so I just wanted to watch a well-made documentary. So that's and I think we got that.
Yeah,
yeah, we
You
did.
guys agree?
Yeah.
Agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Very well made.
It's because Mom said exactly what I was going to say.
Had either of you seen this before we watched it for our show?
I had. Yeah.
You had?
Mm-hmm.
I
watched it recently.
I had watched part of it, but I didn't finish it. So the very beginning part I saw before, but like maybe the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But I, for some reason, couldn't keep watching. So
Yeah, I had never seen this. I hadn't heard of it. I know that I think that there's some things going around about this case right now in like social media and whatnot, because when I got home from watching this, I told my wife that what we had watched, and she's like, oh, that's the Shanann and Chris Watts story that I've been seeing all over. So we might need to do like an update or something.
Yeah, no kidding. I haven't looked into that at all.
So maybe we'll look that up here in a little bit and put it at the end of our episode. But we're just talking about the 2020 documentary right now. Yep. I hadn't seen it, so this was a new one to me. I'm going to give some details, and then and you guys butt in if at any point you want, but then we'll get into some of our standouts and things like that. Film starts with Shanann Watts.
The pronunciation thing.
Shanann.
It is Shannon.
Shanann.
But then her
it's
mom
not.
calls her Shannon, though,
Well,
on the phone.
I think they all call her Shanann.
How would you spell Shannon?
Shannon or A-N.
Yeah. So it's Shanann.
Yeah. So it's
Shanann.
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 Okay, I didn't know
Anyway.
that, but I feel like when her mom was on the phone at the very beginning, she said, "Where they can't find Shannon,"
Oh, well.
and I was like, "Oh."
Everyone else said
Everybody else said
Shanann.
Shanann.
But it might be like that's the way she wanted people to pronounce it. Maybe
True.
her mom named her Shannon, and she wanted people to.
That
I
could
want to be
be.
Shanann instead because.
Well,
she
I guess
was-
we're gonna accept whatever
Comes out of your
our
mouth.
mouth. So,
Yeah.
the film starts with Shanann Watts returning home in the early hours of August 13th, 2018, after a business trip. She's seen entering her home in Frederick, Colorado on a neighbor's security camera, but that would be the last time she was seen alive. The next day, Shanann's friend grows concerned when she doesn't hear from her, and after repeated attempts to contact her have failed, she calls the police. Officers arrive at the Watts home, where Chris Watts, Shanann's husband, seems cooperative, but oddly detached.
Yeah, that's
He's
really weird.
Was so calm.
Yeah. A search of the house turns up no signs of a struggle, but Shanann's car and personal belongings like her phone and her medicine and her purse and everything were still there, which obviously raises alarms to everybody. As the investigation proceeds, Chris initially presents himself as a worried husband and father, claiming he has no idea where his wife and daughters, 4-year-old Bella and 3-year-old Cece, or Celeste, could have gone. However, police begin to suspect him due to inconsistencies in his story and his unemotional demeanor. Meanwhile, the film shows real-time body cam footage and interviews with detectives where viewers witness the gradual unraveling of Chris's lies. Surveillance footage from a neighbor's security camera captures Chris backing his truck into the garage early in the morning after Shanann's disappearance, which becomes a key piece of evidence. Under mounting pressure, Chris eventually fails a polygraph test, leading to shocking confession. He admits to strangling Shanann during an argument after she confronted him about an affair. At first, he alleges that he killed his wife after he witnessed her smothering their 2 children.
Dirtbag.
But after being pressed further by detectives, he then reveals that after he killed his wife, he put her and the girls in the truck, drove about 40 minutes away. Then he smothered his 2 daughters and disposed of their bodies at an oil site where he worked. The film takes view.
Smother him and put him in an oil tank.
Yeah. I want to put him in there alive and just let him do whatever needs to happen in there.
Slowly.
The film takes viewers through the subsequent search and recovery of the bodies, which were found in oil tanks and a shallow grave. In the final segment of the documentary, Chris's confession is revealed to the public, and he is charged with multiple counts of first-degree murder. The film ends with Chris receiving multiple life sentences without the possibility of parole, closing the case on a tragedy that horrified the nation through its use of raw footage, real-life communications. Documentary provides an intimate look into the emotional devastation left in the wake of the murders. Okay, so we're keeping this in, we're going to try to keep this within 30, 40 minutes. So let's talk about standout moments. Okay, so that was the quick and dirty of the documentary. Like I said before, I think they did a really good job telling this story in a really interesting way.
Yeah, because it keeps you on the edge of your seat the whole time. You're like, he didn't do this.
Yeah.
No way.
Right. Mom?
Well, I don't know that I've ever watched a documentary that I was totally speechless the whole way through. It was just like I couldn't figure it out. And what I thought I was figuring out, I couldn't believe could be real.
Right.
And it was like gut punch when you find out that this guy killed his wife and 2 children.
Right.
And drove 45 minutes in the car with his 2 little girls in the back seat with his dead wife, and then suffocated them and threw them in an oil tank.
Looked them in the eye.
How does that? And listen, and remembers her last words, "Daddy, no."
Right.
And he killed him.
Yeah. So this whole thing is obviously very heartbreaking. When they started telling this story, though, the filmmakers did a really good job, because it was we were kind of seeing it the same way sort of that the detectives would have been seeing it. You know, they walked in because we got body cam footage. I mean, that's the most.
From the very get-go, there was a body cam going into for her welfare check.
The first time that before the cops even had the permission to enter the house, we're getting to see what's going on at this cop's perspective, which I would like to say, I think with the rise in police departments using body cams, almost every house having a Ring or or security camera or something like that, documentaries are going to change.
Yeah, they're going to be, you're going to see everything.
We now have a really, really cool look.
And also the social media part of it.
Yes.
I mean, you've got Facebook posts, you've got videos, you've got text messages, you've got all the stuff that you can piece together.
Right. Yeah. And no more do you have to rely on reenactments or just storytelling.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, I hate reenactments.
I know you do.
But anyway, so that was a really neat part of this, and it's kind of showing what the new age of documentaries is probably going to be.
We didn't have to guess
true crime specifically.
Yeah, we didn't have to guess what Chris Watts was acting like. We saw it.
Yeah.
We saw him
from the very beginning when he first arrived home from work when she was reported when they did the welfare check, and he just saunters up the yard and extends his hand to shake hands.
But you got to think about it, because I feel like
that's what I would do.
Yeah, I think so, because that's
you don't
what
know
I was
at that
thinking.
point that anything really happened.
Well, especially if you really did have that conversation.
Right.
It's not weird that your wife and your kids are gone if you just had a conversation about the fact that you've been cheating on her and you want out of the marriage.
Right. Yeah, and that's kind of where I was going.
He did it wrong. He should have gotten rid of her purse. All of their packed a bag, put that in the thing with them.
Yeah,
because
really
they probably wouldn't have even looked for her very hard if that were the case. Now, her mom and friends would have. You guys would know if I didn't reach out to you guys that something wasn't right.
Right.
I'm not just going to disappear off the face of the earth. And I have a feeling that would have probably come into play.
Would have extended stuff.
But he probably could have gotten out of the country or something. Jeez Louise.
Yeah. And, I agree with you that if it were just, would I be nervous? Yeah, but I'm not going to
freak out yet.
Assume the worst. Like at this point in the story, we don't know that he already knows what happened because he was the one that did it. We just think that he's a husband that got called away from work because his wife's not answering the door. Right?
Yeah.
And at this point, we have text messages from him saying, please be home when I get home. I'm on my way home. Like, I love you. And he comes up. I would shake the cop's hand.
Yeah.
I would let him in. Well, it does feel weird, but
hindsight, but
because he's got two little girls, it's not just his wife. I think maybe it's because I'm a woman. If I thought my daughters were missing, I would be like, what in the heck is going on?
Of course he knew.
Yeah, he knew. We know
but at that point, we didn't know that they were missing at all. It could have been as simple as it could have been as simple as the wife took
the kids to the neighbors
to the park or something and left her phone at home.
Right.
That would be what went through my head at first. I would not go to the worst case scenario.
No.
I would go, I'm sure my wife is just
I think you have preconceived notions because it's called American Murder.
I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah.
We know it's
so
a murder.
we know that there's some kind of crime that happened and we're not sure who. So of course the husband's going to be your first, the person that you, and of course, if I'm the husband, I'm going to be nervous and I'm probably not going to be acting normal.
Right. That's what I thought too. And through the first part, like Mom and I watched this together and we even paused it at one point to kind of talk through like, okay, what do you think happened here? Like, what's your bet? What do you think is going on here? Are they gone? Are they murdered? Did he do it? Did someone else do it? Whatever. Especially when we got to the point where the detectives were pressing Chris.
Right.
Right. And they were, I was getting angry at how they were pressing him, because I was going, it is so frustrating to me to think that, because he said he's been in there for like 8 hours or something like that. He's been, being talked to and at, and,
asked the same questions
almost
over
trying to
and
put
over
words in
again.
his mouth.
Yes.
But,
And,
they were.
And we hear stories about people who get put in those rooms and get coerced into saying things that they then regret, the false confessions, or, if you just tell us, this can all be over.
Yeah. Just say what we want to hear.
And then eventually they give in, so I was going, and then he fails the polygraph test, and I'm like, well, I know that those things are really,
they're not
touchy.
They're not they're not
foolproof.
scientific,
They're not even, you can't even use it in court.
No, you can't.
Word to the wise, never take one of those. Even if you're innocent,
right,
don't
because
take
you
it.
could accidentally, it's very finicky. But all that being said, I'm going,
lawyer
okay,
up and don't do that.
So he's right. Lawyer up is the first thing you should have done.
Yeah.
But he's, at this point, it seems, if he were an innocent man and he agrees to the polygraph test, which she even says, the fact that you're even here right now gives me a good feeling, because you shouldn't be doing this if you're guilty. And he's like, okay, I've got nothing. And then you failed the polygraph test. Well, first of all, we didn't see the polygraph test results. They could have lied about that and said you didn't, like it could have been perfectly normal, and tell him you failed. You failed. And then
because what really happened?
Just because they think he did it, and to get him to confess, even though the polygraph test, that's what was going through my head. So I was getting kind of angry, going, I would be so mad if I'm sitting there going, yeah, but I didn't do it. I didn't lie. I didn't, obviously come to find out in this situation, he did lie through his teeth, and he was an absolute monster. Probably goes to show how much better a detective knows their job than I know their job. The interrogations and things like that. Like I'm just an armchair expert.
Well, and we saw a minuscule amount of the questioning and stuff.
Hours and hours and hours that they had in there.
Yeah. And by that point, I'm sorry, but if your pregnant wife and your 2 baby girls are missing, and they have been for 3 days or however long, I'm a wreck. I'm not sitting there without crying. And even the one lady, the polygraph lady, said, "You're crying to your wife about your marriage ending, but they're all 3 of them are missing now for days, and you're not you're not crying. How? Why? What?"
I get that, but even in that, I go to, none of us have been in that situation.
Right. Yep.
None of us in bodies do weird things in shock.
That's true.
I really don't subscribe to like,
well,
I feel like I would be crying if it's, so why aren't you even
but
showing
I would think that the police and detectives and all that they've been with so many people that have been through that they would know what reactions are.
But everybody's different. I mean, there's people that stay calm, and Jeff reacts differently to stressful situations than I do, and you react differently than I do about those situations. So if you can't really say how people are going to react to certain things.
That's exactly right. And I also know that there is huge amounts of tactics and techniques that investigators and interviewers have to get people to say things, and to
and they pick up on all the things that don't match up,
and tools to try to get them to slip up. So when I watch those sort of things, my mind goes to like when they're going, "You're not even crying," and he's like, "I'm just trying to cooperate here. Like, you don't get to tell me that I should be a ball of mess, in this, because I just go to they may not be, they're not your best friend. They're trying to close this case. They're trying to figure out who did this. And if it was you, they want to get you saying that. And unfortunately, a lot of times they want to get someone saying that they did it, even if it's not the person that really did it. But obviously this was different because he was the one who did it. But so.
Well, and I about died when he started telling him that she smothered the children.
Right.
And he killed her because she smothered his children. I thought,
I knew, I had a feeling that was false as soon as he said it.
Yeah.
Because, well, not to say I didn't have any doubt, because I did.
I mean, maybe,
but
anything could happen.
But what instantly went through my head, and of course, everyone, like we just said, does things differently in stress and whatnot. But if it were me, I would just say, if I walked in and saw my wife who just said, "You're never going to see your kids again," which is what he claims she said, which was what he claims made him snap to kill her, right? But his initial claim was that she had just told him that, and then he walks in on her smothering the kids, right? Let's play pretend that was true, right? And he reacted. He has a right to defend his kids from that, right? So let's say that he reacted and ended up unintentionally killing his wife to stop her from killing the kids, right? Well, what would your first thing be if that happened?
Call the police and tell
them. The police, yes. Right?
Yep.
You go in there, that happens, you call and you say, "My wife tried to kill my kids and I accidentally killed her trying to stop her." Maybe you do some prison time. I don't know, depending on what the situation was and all that, and the judge and the lawyers and all that. But you
at least have a fighting chance.
Well, and that's the right reaction to that. If his reaction to that was to then
hide the bodies,
and hide the bodies,
like, what?
Yeah, no.
And to take the kids that your wife just killed and then go hide them somewhere
and put them in an oil tank.
Right. We're going to get to that because I have thoughts on that too. Anyway, but that's not at all what happened. He killed her, and they even said that her family said that there's no way she was awake when he did that.
Right.
They think that he went in there when she was asleep, because he would have had some kind of defense wounds if he had
she was a feisty
completely unaware. Right.
Yeah, she was spicy.
Let's talk about Shannon for just a little bit.
Okay. She's a little bit of a narcissist.
Shanann was a lot.
She was a lot.
Now I'm not going to go down the road of what certain like news people said and what, I know there was a ton of comments through, dogging on her and all that.
Yeah, those podcasters saying like
that she's a bitch.
Yeah,
and, she's a narcissist and all that. And
she's dead.
Right.
like come
so
on,
really?
Yeah, not trying to talk ill of the dead here, and nothing. No matter if she was an awful person or a wonderful person, nobody deserves what they got, especially with those kids.
Yeah.
However, when I was watching, before I knew what happened, before all of that, there's something about the person who is so obsessed with recording everything, putting it on Facebook.
She must have had a ton of followers too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because she was talking to the camera as if she had a lot of, like she was an influencer or something.
Getting mad at him and belittling him when he forgot his phone, even though she was using her phone to record when he was dressed up as Santa.
Yeah.
And she's using her phone to record going, I told him, what an idiot. If you didn't bring his phone.
I need that phone.
Now I have to go get it. And like husbands, right? That sort of thing. And like, I just didn't like how she was presented in this.
She made him, when he came to North Carolina for that last week that she was with her parents.
Right.
And when he got off the plane, she told him, gave him explicit instructions to come up the
escalator,
let the kids run to him, but don't hug him or anything until she gets all the footage that she needs.
Directing.
I mean, it was just so manic to me. I just couldn't stand that part.
Yeah, me too.
And when they were in the ocean and she's telling him to turn just a little bit towards her when
I can get the best shot.
Get the best shot while he's playing with his daughter in the waves. And
like, can we live in the moment here for a second?
That had to drive him crazy. I mean, that had to be crazy making.
Oh yeah, and again, that's not to victim blame.
No,
she did nothing to deserve this.
No,
he should have been a man and left.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, if he didn't want to be in that relationship,
and put the camera down and let's live a real life here.
Yeah, or just leave.
Go be with your girlfriend or whatever.
Right. Right. Will she be mad? Will the people hate you? Yeah,
sure.
Guess
probably.
what?
Who cares? This isn't what you want. You want this? Fine, go do it. But you don't have to take people out in the process.
Exactly. So for all the things about her that rubbed me the wrong way, I don't care. That doesn't matter. His response to those things is all that matters here.
Right.
And it's just absolute.
A little part of me is really glad that she did that. I told you this last night that I'm really grateful. Her family must be really grateful for all those things.
All the footage.
All the footage she has of those little girls. And they were so precious and so cute and sweet little girls. And now they have that to remember them by.
And that's the thing.
That's a gift.
It is. It is. But why the girls?
Yeah, I don't know.
That makes no sense.
As awful as it is, crimes of passion, the spur of the moment, you get angry and something happens and someone dies. Is that right? I can at least, I'm saying this I'm not saying that it's ever okay, obviously. What I'm saying is I get how those happen. Yeah, you need to pay for that crime that happened, but you see those things and you go, that's awful.
Yeah.
But you don't necessarily go, why?
Right.
How?
Yeah.
Because you go, okay, this led to this, that, this, and then this happened.
Right.
I can't put anything onto why these girls had any part of his thing.
Because they were in the way of
They
his
would have been in the way
life.
of his next venture.
Yeah, I guess.
Because he would have had to pay child support. He would have probably had some kind of visitation.
Well, and then after the fact of after he kills his wife, now he's got these two little girls that are still going to be in the way. Now he's got to take them with him, and is his new girlfriend going to want to have two little girls?
Technically, they know what just happened too.
Yeah,
that's true.
I hadn't thought of that. They also saw it or were around.
They may have witnessed it. They may probably not, but
they knew Mama was laying on the floor wrapped in a tarp,
and they knew Dad took her out to the field.
Yeah.
So there's the answer, I guess. Putting them in that oil tank. So So Nikki said something. My wife said something to me about one of the things that she heard regarding this case, and they didn't really touch on it in the documentary. But the opening that he had to get them through was much smaller than the girls.
Oh, that's disgusting.
I know. So you went and this woman that you supposedly hated, that made life so awful for you, and you went and buried her.
Yeah.
But you took these precious children who were singing songs about their daddy being their hero.
Yeah.
And were the most innocent of any being. And you crunched them into this little hole? Into an oil tank? Why? I mean, this guy, he's a real piece of work. Yeah. What did he think was the best case scenario here?
Right. I mean, he was just going to get away
I
with
think
it.
I think we have to look at this as he wasn't in his right mind. I mean, he was not thinking logically. He was not acting how you would act or I would act. He was nuts.
But in some ways he was, because as soon as this stuff happened, he called the girls' school and disenrolled them.
Right.
He called
I mean, he was in a weird state where he thought this was going to all take care of everything.
Yeah.
He'd be able to go off with his girlfriend and no one would catch him and everything would be fine. And he's still not in his right mind, even though he made some took some steps that seemed logical or
but it
whatever.
But it showed that he was thinking.
He was thinking.
If if he had just annihilated his family and then left him there and then whatever, then you're going, okay, yeah, it's just a mental, not just but it's a mental break and he's completely off the rails. But he thought about the fact he's telling the girls, mommy will be okay. He's driving him out. He's thinking about what's going on. He drives 45 minutes to the work site. He thinks about, he buries, and then it's just like he was very lucid through this whole thing. It wasn't a, like just
like he was
break.
Blinded with
rage or something.
Or something. And I really appreciated the fact that his girlfriend came forward and gave the information right away as soon as she realized it was him and she was missing. I mean, she came forward and came clean about the whole thing. He lied to her. He was lying to her the whole time too. Right. They felt.
So apparently there's a little bit of rumors spreading around too that maybe she wasn't as in. Now, I don't know if this is internet sleuths that, try to take a story and look too far into it. And I don't know if there's anything, and like I said, I haven't, but there are people out there that believe that in the footage that the neighbor has, that there was 2 adults leaving.
Oh, great.
And that, but again, this is all speculation on my part. I don't know much about that, but, yeah, maybe she wasn't as innocent as she claimed to be, but who knows?
Well, and that's the point.
I think he would have. He was such a slime. He probably would have thrown her under the bus.
Probably.
I think he would have.
I mean, I would have if I didn't do it by myself.
I would.
If I knew that she came forward and threw me under the bus, I'd be like, "Wait a minute.
Wait a second. You were part of this.
You were a part of this too, and you need to do time too." So that's what makes me think that she probably didn't have much to do with
I hope
it.
not. I mean,
I do too.
In a lot of ways, then I feel really bad for her if the way it was presented in 2020 on this documentary, like I feel really bad for. Can you imagine how scared you'd be? You're looking at those pictures, going, "This guy."
Right.
The guy that, I thought was already separated from his wife and had, every intention of, I obviously I questioned that, but he was clearly a liar, and, and he was a pretty good one.
Yeah.
Because he had even,
he had everybody fooled.
He had everyone fooled for a bit, except for that one neighbor.
Yeah. That one neighbor.
I liked him. He said, there's something fishy about this.
Yeah. He's not ever like this. He's acting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was the part of the documentary where I knew that he did it. Was the second the girlfriend showed up, I was like, "Yep, he killed his family, 100%."
Because he said he didn't have a girlfriend. He wasn't
Right.
having an affair, and he had no girlfriend.
Yep.
Lie.
But he came forward to the detectives about having an affair. He's like, "Yeah, I did," but he hadn't told them. And it wasn't until his dad came in that he said, "I smothered her. I killed her."
Oh my gosh!
When that happened, when he said I killed her, I was like, I like, wow.
Yeah. I like, wow.
Last little piece, the statements at the end that the families got to give, I thought was a little bit interesting. Of course, Shanann's mother got to tell him, like, you had no right. You are evil. You, how could you have we took you in as our own. We trusted you. She trusted you and loved you.
The kids.
Those kids. Yeah. You don't deserve that. And you took basically everything from us, so I'm sure obviously it doesn't bring anybody back, but you'd want your chance to say that to somebody.
Absolutely.
What was more interesting was his mother's response, which was basically, "This is appalling, but we forgive you.
We love you.
And we love you." I don't know how I feel about that, because I go,
That's another one of those things, though, when you haven't been there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I think about if my son had done something, would I be appalled? Yes. But is that going to take away how I feel about my son?
No, you're going to love him for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
100%.
The forgiveness part is what I would struggle with. I would say.
I would never use those words.
I don't know that I could say those words, especially not at that point.
No, that's real quick after.
Right.
I mean,
I don't know.
I'm sure it took time to get to that point. I'm sure.
Well, I think forgiveness, you start out with just verbalizing it, and it's
Sure.
a progression in your heart as you go along. When you make that decision to forgive, it isn't that all the feelings that you have are gone and okay now.
No.
You know, it's something that you decide to do, and it's a journey in forgiveness. I truly believe that. And I think about that. If one of you kids got in really bad trouble, I would still love you, and I would forgive you anything.
The love part to me, that's unconditional.
Right.
I'm going to love you.
I
I'm
just
not
do.
going to love
That's not something I'm going to do. That's something
that is.
It is.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just the piece that of I forgive you. Like, I don't know that I could get there. Even if it were one of you guys or my wife or something like that, or my kids, I will always tell you that I love you. I don't know if I found out that you annihilated your family, and this is hard to even imagine, but like you killed my grandkids and my baby girl, or however
whatever
you want
it is, yeah.
I don't know that I could ever tell you I forgive you for that. No,
Yeah.
I love you.
It would take a lot of work on myself before I could vocalize that to
right. I'd have to work with my therapist to decide if that was something that I even wanted to do.
Yeah.
Because I don't know that.
Yeah, but unforgiveness is such a bitter thing in yourself that it can really eat you alive.
Maybe.
I kind of went through that with my mom, and I had to forgive her. I forgave her a long time ago.
Right.
Do I like what she did? No, never like it and say it was okay with some of the things that she did. But forgiving her and leaving that to, I leave it to the Lord to say, okay, He's the one that has to deal with that. So wherever you are in your spiritual life or whatever, give it to that.
Right.
And take it off your own heart, because it's not up to us.
I just feel like it's such a different level when it's murdering kids.
Yeah, it is. But I feel the same way, if they torture a cat or,
For sure.
I mean,
any kind of a thing.
I just feel like if you messed with my
babies,
family like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
It would be, I'm not saying anything about it being easy, because it wouldn't be easy.
No.
But it is definitely a tough one.
And I don't, I mean, I think
and who knows how it would be.
At this point, I stand on the hill of I don't think that I would be able to do it.
Right.
To say the words
I've never
to
been
you,
there, so
but I've also never been there. So
anyway,
let's move on. Overall takeaways. How did you feel after watching?
This was depressing. I'm glad that he confessed, and I'm glad that they got to the bottom of it. But my gosh, it was dark.
Right. Mom, how'd you feel when the credits roll?
Terrible. I felt...
You were talking about it for at least 20 minutes afterwards. Like you kept just going, oh.
I know. It was exhausting because I just kept hoping that he didn't do that. And to listen. I think the photography, when they had the drone up above the oil tanks and all that, that just haunted me, knowing that those little girls were floating in there. And now you tell me that, they were stuffed in a small hole. It's like, oh, how sad.
Well, and when he said, when was this picture taken? And they said today, and then you find out that they're in there.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, today. Okay.
Right.
Now you're looking at a picture of
where
the
my
place
children
you just put your kids.
Yeah. It's just, it was, my takeaway was that people are, it's so sad.
Yeah.
It's
I was in
so
shock.
sad.
For me, it was
Yeah, it was
shock when
shocking.
credits roll. I don't understand how someone could do all of this. I just keep, like you said, I keep thinking about the kids.
Yeah.
Obviously I feel bad for Shanann and like that's awful for her and her family and all of that. But the kids are haunting.
Yeah, it is.
Like,
It's
I
very
just
haunting.
do not understand.
And there was
that.
so much footage of them. I mean, there were so many sweet pictures, and they were just sweet little girls. And you mentioned when they were singing the song that their daddy was a hero. And the mom, her mother at the end, when she gave her statement or when she was able to talk to him, she mentioned that, these little girls sang you songs that you were their hero.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
how could you do it? How could you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's rate this thing and move on with our night.
Yeah, let's do something
So this is
nice.
the time on our show where we rate the documentary with an official small documentary rating. Each crew member scores the documentary on a scale of 1 to 10 items, with 1 being as bad as bringing the wrong kind of ice cream to a birthday party.
No, we didn't even get into that.
Yeah. And 10 being as great as getting the perfect Facebook video at the beach. The item that is used for scoring changes each episode depending on the content of the documentary. We struggled with this a little bit, but this week we will be using piece of shit dads as our rating item. So let's start with the sister. How many POS dads do you give this documentary, sister?
I gave this 9.5 POS dads.
Okay.
I thought it was really well made.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed watching it. It was a compelling story.
Mm-hmm.
It had me guessing all the way up till the end, and it didn't. I mean, there was a conclusion to it. Sometimes with documentaries, there's no conclusion. It's like,
and the person is still at large.
Yeah, and it's like, well,
and you're still wondering which one it was that did it.
Yeah. So, but this one had a hard and fast conclusion. He's in jail for the rest of his life. I also wanted to mention one standout moment that I had towards the end when they were talking about the death penalty, and they were talking about how somebody said it. The guy was like, so and so said it really poignantly. You know, it's on him that he took these lives. I don't want it on me, whether or not I take his life.
I think it was the mother.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think if
and
I
it was like
right.
Susan or whatever.
Right.
I don't know who. Can't remember who it was, but
yeah, it was a pretty good way to say it.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, yeah. Let's let him suffer, please. Just don't ever let him out of jail.
Make sure he's in the open population and everybody knows what he did.
Exactly.
Yeah,
tattooed on his forehead or something.
Yeah. Okay, Mom, how many POS dads?
I gave it 9.
Okay, 9 POSs.
And I would same way pretty much as Lauren. It was so well done. And one thing I liked is that it, like most documentaries, it sort of built. You know, you get more information. And it wasn't repetitive, you know, like it's like so many of them will go back to the same scene and show it over again, and they keep redoing. This was really well done. I enjoyed it. I hate to use the word enjoy.
You enjoyed the film.
It was a really well done documentary.
Right. Yep. So I gave this 8 POS dads, which is a pretty high one for me. Same kind of thing. I really enjoyed the different types of footage that they got. Having body cam from the officers, having the interrogation room video, having the home security videos and things like that, really, and all of the Facebook stuff, the texts and all that stuff was just a really good way to tell a story. So I enjoyed the way that they told the story. As with as heartbreaking and awful of a story as it was, the film was a great way to tell their story. And so I gave it 8 POSs. So after averaging everyone's scores, the official documentary rating for American Murder, The Family Next Door, is 8.83, repeating
into
POS
infinity.
Dads. Right. Yeah, the 3s will keep going for as long as Chris Watts is in prison.
For killing 3 beautiful people.
Right.
4. I forgot about the baby. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, she was pregnant. Yep. Okay, so I want to thank all of our listeners for tuning in to MMDTM Radio's Small Talkumentary.
Yay.
As I said at the beginning, rate and review our podcast, follow us on all the stuff, and give us some emails and all that good stuff. Keep an eye out for the next episode on our kind of recurring variety show that we're doing now. We'll be back soon to Taco Bell documentaries on Small Talkumentary, one documentary at a time. Until next time, this has been My Mama Done Told Me. I have been Jeff. That has been Lauren.
I still am Mom.
That is always the mom. Thank you all for listening. We hope you keep your minds open and be kind to each other. Goodbye.
Good night.
We love you.
Good morning. Good day.
We love you.
We love you. We love you. Oh, look at that little bird.
There's peanut butter in it. Robbie still looking like a peanut butter.
I still have the headache. Let's go. Let's do this.
She's so mad.
Let's hit it.
Don't rush me. I gotta get into the mind space.
Oh.
Okay.
Why did I do that?